We got Mickey Gall taking on Super Sage Northcutt. Mickey Gall minus 140 favorite. Come back on Northcutt plus 120. What's your take here?
I feel like people are really buying into this Mickey Gall hype train thing, and I just can't quite figure out why. Yes, he's got a brown belt in BJJ. Yes, stylistically, he actually matches up pretty good against Sage here. Considering he's the bigger guy, he should be able to take Sage down, which we've seen is Sage's kryptonite. And once he does take him down, that brown belt's going to serve him leaps and bounds. Yep. He should be able to submit him or just, hold the action and pound him out. So I definitely see why people are on Gall, but I just keep bringing it back to the fact that I don't really like this guy. I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy, don't get me wrong, but to call out CM Punk after your first pro fight, I thought that was not classless, good on him, smart business move, but it was stupid, right? You want to know. You have not done everything that every other MMA fighter has had to do, and that's go through that grind, and that's sleep on the mats, and that's bleed in the ring, and that's have that gut check, and that's lose a fight and think to yourself, is this really what I want to do with my life? He hasn't had to go through all those trials and tribulations that make a great fighter. He just got one fight. Dana happened to be in the crowd. He happened to pick up the mic. He happened to say, I want to fight CM Punk, and hey, next thing you know, we got CM Punk. But hey, let's give you this Mike Jackson guy before you fight CM Punk. So we're just going to get the worst guy possible. This guy's actually a photographer for us when we go to Texas, and he can't really fight for the most part. But I'll tell you what, beat him up, and we'll showcase it. And then, hey, you can fight CM Punk. So he wins. And listen, he wins in exceptional fashion, but he's not fighting anybody. So just keep that in mind. Now he fights
did
CM Punk.
what you're supposed to do.
What you're supposed to do. But people are like, wow, man, he looked really good. He did what he was supposed to do. Now he gets CM Punk. He does what he's supposed to do.
Takes him down immediately, pounds him out until CM Punk quits.
And I can't imagine any other fighter in the division.
Punk, I'll give CM Punk this. I've been harsh about it, but he definitely
lasted longer.
He did his best.
Yeah. What more could you have done than what he did?
He
just didn't have the tools.
Once it went to the ground.
Right. But how many other guys in the division would have not?
A lot of people would have quit faster. Maybe.
Than CM Punk did.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people in our office space, sure. Nobody in the UFC would have quit faster.
There's nobody else in the UFC that's even that inexperienced, though.
But even if you put, Alvaro Herrera in that fight, you think Herrera's going to take that option? No, of course. What I'm saying is CM Punk is by far the worst guy in the division. Great. You smashed him. Great. He didn't even hit you once. Great. It was a perfect shutout performance out of you. But I'm not sure how that really raises your stock to some great fighter. So now this guy gets the mic again. And you know what? He's clearly smart enough to just call out guys that are not going to give him any real problems here, right? Like CM Punk. So what does he do? Calls out a 55er who has grappling problems, who's 20 years old. So the guy's smart. The guy's matchmaking his own fights, and guess what? He's taking the worst guys in the division, or at least what he perceives to be the worst guys in the division, to try to build up his own career, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. But eventually you're going to run into a roadblock. Is Sage Northcutt that roadblock? I don't know. But what I can say about Sage is that he's 8-1, He's earned this record. He was fighting in Legacy against guys that had 50 fights when he was 17, 18 years old. He's come to the UFC, and he's beaten guys like Francisco Trevino, who really aren't all that bad, man. He's had those trials and tribulations against Cody Pfister in a fight that he's losing, and he has early adversity, and he comes back and wins. Brian Barberina, adversity in that fight. Although he does win the first round, he eventually loses, succumbs to it. His last fight against Enrique Marin, he's growing as a fighter, and he's taking all the necessary steps that I think he's a little more well-rounded. He's far too strong. He's far too fast. Mickey Gall's got this brown belt, and everyone's saying wow, he's so good on the ground. Everybody in the UFC is a brown belt, right? Yeah. So I can't imagine that this is going to be he's not some great guy at jiu-jitsu. He's just better in comparison to the white belt that CM Punk is, comparison to the white belt that Mike Jackson is, compared to the blue belt that Sage Northcutt is. His brown belt's still much better. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know that he's fast enough to get him to the ground. I don't know that he's strong enough to get him to the ground. And if Sage Northcutt keeps the fight standing, then he's got all the karate experience in the world to just point fight this guy, hit him in and out of the pocket. Did a whole camp with Tyron Woodley, and Woodley's talking about how fast this guy is and how dynamic this guy is. And now you're going to go out there and you're going to worry about Mickey Gall taking you down? I don't know, man. I would have to go with the dog here, Sage Northcutt.
Yeah. Well, one little stat that I pulled up here is Mickey Gall, his 6 opponents, I'm including his amateur fights, have a combined record of 3-3. Sage Northcutt, his 4 UFC fights, that's all I'm counting here. The opponents' records are 42, 11, and 11. 11 and 1, sorry. Trevino was, 12 and 1 coming into that fight? And he smashed him. Went in there. Through hands, super heavy. I think it's in this little loop that we see in the back here. Goes in there,
blast, double, elbow,
and
yeah.
kills him.
Great performance.
What would Mickey Gall do against Trevino?
I think Trevino beats him, but that's what we got to see. We don't.
That's why I'm interested. I find it.
Yeah.
I think everyone's kind of looking at Mickey Gall and like what he's done, and oh my God, Sage sucks on the ground. This guy, which is like he's got to get him to the ground first. What if he doesn't get him to the ground?
Let me ask you this:
He doesn't get him to the ground. He's getting pieced up on the feet by Sage. Sage is a lifelong martial artist. Sage is a champion in for basically his whole life doing this. We think that he's like, oh, he's been fighting bums because maybe at the UFC level he's been fighting some lower level guys. But the guys that Mickey Gall has fought
are not even UFC
don't
level.
even belong in this realm. They're not even good guys on the regional scene. They're low level guys on the regional scene. Now you're taking on your first real opponent, Sage Northcutt, an athletic specimen who's faster than you, way better on the feet, and has, we may say terrible grappling, but that's because he's taking on, actual UFC caliber, maybe lower level UFC caliber guys, but he's been getting exposed by those guys. I don't think Gall is at that level yet. And we're getting dog money on the guy who's more experienced, stronger, faster, younger, has taken on the better opponents in his life. Did a camp with Tyron Woodley, getting him ready for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Oh, did Tyron Woodley look pretty good against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson?
Yeah,
maybe Sage helped him out okay. I suppose Gall has a bit of an advantage that he's training at TriStar for this gym or for this camp, and Sage was spending some time there, so maybe they're giving him some secrets of where he can exploit, how he can get this fight to the ground, but I have to go with Sage. I already put some money at plus 130 on Sage Northcutt. I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. As I mentioned, I agree with you. I think very much so. It's easy just to say, oh, geez, Mickey Gall, but I think Sage Northcutt has all the tools. And a lot of the time when you look at Sage Northcutt, you're like, oh, this guy's going to go in there, he's going to humble him, right? Because a guy like Brian Barberina is, 27 years old. He's been around, he's blue collar, he's tough. Mickey Gall's just another kid, too. He's only 24. So now it's like, oh, I don't have to fight a man for a change. I get to fight another kid, someone who's also developing, not someone who already has a skill set. And then the last final point to that is, let's say that the fight is Sage Northcutt versus CM Punk. He does the same thing to him he did to Trevino. Blast, boom, crack, 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 out. Fight lasts a minute. Yep. And everyone would say, oh my God, Sage Northcutt smashed him in a minute. Not take his back, work for the choke, land some ground and pound, work for the choke again. CM Punk almost got out of the first round in that fight. Anyways, I think we're on the same page. Listen, this is going to be a gut check for both guys. One prospect is going to come out of here unscathed, and one prospect's going to take a little bit of dirt on their shine. I just think that Sage is going to be able to get it through.
My last little thing I'm going to say about this is Sage and his family and his management team have been very selective about a bunch of their the fights that they've taken here. When Mickey Gall called them out, Sage and his team immediately said, yeah, we'll do that.
Well, not only did they accept it, and then Mickey Gall was like, whatever date it was, and then he was just like, nope, not that date, this date. And then Mickey Gall was like, okay, he took that one. Like, they knew, like, ooh, okay. And you know what? They make a lot of excuses, too. Oh, the kid was sick before his fight. Oh, he had an injury before his fight. Yeah. Hopefully there's no excuses this time. He's just in good shape, and if he is in good shape, I expect to see the results.